You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, as always, we put Ghana first. And my guests who are staying for the two other issues that we are looking at, the Attorney General's letter to the Auditor General. But before that, we are looking at the quote-unquote ministerial reshuffle that many commentators say it was a missed opportunity for the president to do things right by Ghanaians. So my guests who are here to continue with that discussion, Joseph Dundiok Penka and Clara Berry Kasati, as well as Sami Jamfi of the National Democratic Congress. And thanks to Senyor Hosi, who is a convener of the Individual Bondholders Forum. Thanks also to our previous guests that we have spoken to. Right. So the president did something this week. Some of the ministers who have resigned, he, nominated others to replace them. So you have the Member of Parliament for Adansia Sokwa, K.T. Hammond, nominated, or is it appointed, to replace the Trade Minister, Alain Sremanting. You have Member of Parliament for Abetifi, Brian Champong, to replace the Food and Agriculture Minister. You have Member of Parliament for Karaga, Mohammed Amin Adam, who was stationed at the Energy Ministry as Deputy Minister, now being given a new job. He has been appointed Minister of State designate at the Finance Ministry. Nominated, yeah. He is to replace Charles Edubuahen, who had to exit on the back of the Anas video. Stephen Asamoah Boateng has been nominated Minister designate for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. Many said he could have left that place without putting anybody there. Herbert Krapper, who was Deputy Minister at the Trade Ministry, has been moved to Energy Ministry as Deputy Minister Designate. He replaces Mohammed Amin Adam. And then Dr. Stephen Amwa, going to be Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, replacing Herbert Krapper. Member of Parliament for Ekwapim South, Osei Bonsu Amwa, is nominated as Minister of State Designate at the Local Government and Rural Development Ministry. Many commentators have said that this was a missed opportunity. The president should have taken advantage of the many calls that have been made over the time to rather cut down the size of government. The Pentecostal Council came out and they were very loud about it, saying that that's the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council, saying that he should urgently downsize government machinery and cut down on expenditure to start building confidence about his commitment in solving our economic problems.
First of all, thank you very much. There is no communication from the presidency that has stated that what has happened is final. There's no communication, and let's put that in perspective. If there had been a communication that this brings to finality the government's intention to reshuffle ministers and etc., then we could say that whatever the cry the other people are asking for is with some justification. But remember that if you look at what has happened carefully, the very reason for it has been because of the resignations that hit government in the last 1 month or so. You recall that the Minister for Trade and Industry, the Venerable Alan Kwadwo Kyerematen, resigned, and the Minister for Agric also resigned. Then the Minister for Chieftaincy also resigned. You recall that. I think if you look at what happened, I don't call it a reshuffle. It's like he just replaced those who resigned, and then he moved some deputy ministers from one place to the other, and that ended it. Otherwise, specifically, there has not been a reshuffle if you want to respect the word itself, that you move one minister from one ministry to the other and then move another to another ministry and then take out some ministers.
At the level of the deputy,
yes,
has done
only
that for
had that,
Herbert Krapper
yes,
and Amin Adam.
Amin Adam. And that is also because Amin Adam has been elevated to a Minister of State at the Finance Ministry. Then that created a vacancy at Energy. Then he moved Krapper from Trade to that place. And in replacing Krapper, he appointed Dr. Stephen Amwa. You know, so if you look at it carefully, for me, I find it that it was just a matter of replacing the resigned ministers with others. And in the course of doing it, some 1 or 2 vacancies may have occurred that he needed to fill. So you will see that, as you indicated in your intro, the former Minister of State at Finance Ministry, Dubois, because of the incident that happened in his resignation, that has led to Mohamed Amin Adam going to replace him at that particular ministry. And then if you also look at one person who has been a deputy minister from His Excellency President Kufuor through to the last 6 years of Nana Addo is the Honorable Obi Amwa. And he's been a deputy minister for more than 10 years. And in this particular release, he's been elevated to a Minister of State at the Ministry of Local Government. And you know that the Minister of State is beyond a deputy minister, but still answerable to the minister, the substantive minister at the ministry. That is the organogram, if you so to speak.
Yeah.
But I think that
there's this small bit before we come to the sense that it makes economically or not, and whether it also responds to the cry that has been going on. Stephen Amwa,
yes,
he's known to be a finance person.
yes,
He's got a PhD in finance. Why should somebody be removed from energy, you know, and then this kind of game so that he goes to trade instead of finance?
Sometimes I think I can't go into the president's mind, but sometimes I think that it is also the combination and regional balance. If you look at the finance ministry, you find that Dr. John Kuma is from Ashanti region, right? So probably if you bring in Stika again to that place, you are going to have 2 people from Ashanti
Stika is in Shai, so
exactly.
and Kuma is a Juso.
Yes. So probably these are some of the things. You look at the regional balance.
But if you are a minister, you're a minister. It doesn't.
Yes, but
the regional balance should not be the minister.
I agree. But you see, I mean, it's also good that you try to look at the regional balance when you are putting people at a particular ministry. Otherwise, you can end up also having neighbors from 4 constituencies in one region being minister and all deputies. Yeah. Because if you say that, that doesn't matter.
So substantively, what do you say to what critics are saying?
Yeah. So for me, what I will say is that we may be calling on His Excellency the President to maybe listen to what the cry of the people, and then maybe do some further reshuffle, move some ministers around from one place to the other, and etc. But the point is, as I keep on saying, he is the coach. He is sitting on the bench and watching the players, the 11 players out there do their best.
We're not in normal times, you know, Professor.
I am coming to that.
Professor Addo suggests that he could do with about 40 or so. I
agree with you, but I'm saying that His Excellency the President,
we've
given him a mandate.
86.
We've given him a mandate. And the mandate we've given him is for him to take us out of our economic troubles and give us prosperity. He says that these are the numbers that I want, that will be able to lead us to that land you are clamoring for. So allow me to use those numbers and achieve that which you are clamoring for yourself. If you tell him, go and use 5, and he says that, look, if I use 5, I will be unable to achieve that which you are asking me to do. Allow me to use these numbers because you have given me the mandate. Then we allow him to do that so that we can hold him to his word if he doesn't succeed. But if you allow him to go for 20 people to manage affairs, and at the end he doesn't say, he says, look, it was just pressure that I had to answer to. Otherwise, I couldn't have worked with 20 people to achieve which you have given me to achieve.
And when he came, previous presidents were working with lesser, number of ministers, and he came and did 126. Nobody asked him to go there. And then in the second term, he decided to bring it down to 86. Still, it's being said that he can do better than that.
Yes, but I'm saying that, you see, if you give somebody the mandate to do something, as you have been carrying out this job, I'm just going to use Samson as an example, very excellently for the past years, you are still on your chair. If you had faltered, probably you would not be on the chair. So His Excellency the President is responding to 2 things. One, a mandate that has been given to him by Ghanaians to govern this country. And he says that I can play this game well by using these people. And remember that some of them For example, look at my good friend, Brian Achampo, who is going to Agric. One of the fantastic persons that I have worked with in Parliament over years. He was never given any place. Until now, he's been put at the Ministry of Agric with his level of experience as a businessman as well, a very successful one at that. You just imagine how he's going to be able to turn around at Agric. You look at my good friend, Katie Hammond, who is going to trade, and his links, international connections, and etc. How he can bring that, he has that.
He's got international connections?
Yes, that I know for sure. I know how he'll be able to bring that to bear at the ministry for us to be able to achieve that we are clamoring for.
Isn't it temperamental? Is it good to manage people?
No, you see, that is why sometimes if you're not close to someone, you may draw conclusions that will be wrong. I am very close to the Honorable Katie Hammond, and I know that he listens a lot.
No, but I can use his public conduct to tell.
He takes ideas from people.
I can use his public conduct to tell that.
Yes, but I have worked closely with him in Parliament.
Okay.
In fact, he's one of the persons that I have been so close to that people may not know, as a senior lawyer.
All right.
And then we have worked closely. I think he should be able to handle it. I have seen people making some comments about the combination of himself and Dr. Stephen Amwa at the Ministry of Trade. I've heard those comments. Okay. People are putting in social media and all that. But let's give the president the benefit of the doubt. But I think that ultimately, if need arises and the president has to shift the ministers around, he will do so without hesitation at all in the interest of our dear nation.
Okay. Yes, Sammy.
Samson, this so-called reshuffle has once again highlighted the insensitivity and intransigence of the Akufo Addo government. Because, Samson, we all know the times we are living in. This country is in crisis. Our economy has been so mismanaged that today the nation is bankrupt, such that we cannot even service our debts. And we are compelling our creditors to accept crude haircuts on coupon rates they are entitled to.
Those who borrow us money say, who lend us money say, we are not ready, they can't lend us money
Exactly,
anymore.
Because we have been downgraded to below junk status and have been locked out of the capital market. We can't even go to the capital market to borrow. That is how serious the crisis we've been plunged into is. And what any responsible government should be doing in times like this is to show prudence and frugality in government's expenditure. It is where we are. It makes it imperative for any responsible leader to downsize, to reduce drastically the size of government and government's expenditure. That is a no-brainer. That is a no-brainer. Yet time and time again, we see continuous intransigence and belligerence on the part of the duty bearers of this country to do the needful. Even in corporate governance, I'm saying, is it not right that when a company continues to post losses, the reasonable thing it does is to lay off workers? Basic, very trite. You don't have money to pay pensioners who are bondholders, people who cannot work again. You are expropriating their hard-earned monies. And yet, you are not ready to cut down on the size of government, something you can easily do. Look at some of the appointments they have made and tell me the sense in these appointments. Samson, tell me why we need a Minister of Finance, Deputy Ministers of Finance with many assistants, and another Minister of State in charge of Finance. What is Amin Anta, my good friend, going to do at the Ministry of Finance? What is he going to do there? Ken Ofori-Atta, the cousin of the president who is running this government as if it is his property, has already messed up, and he himself has to be changed. He has not been changed, he's still in office. And you are going to add another Minister of State. The last one we had there.
There are two deputies there already.
Two deputies there already. The last one we had
John
there.
Kuma and Abena.
Exactly. The last one we had there, the appearance fee collection man. What is his name? Charles Adubois. What was his utility? Apart from using his personal company, Black Star Brokerage, to front government's borrowing on the capital market and receiving millions in transaction advisor fees. What was he doing there? Collecting appearance fees. So why must that slot be filled? I don't see the sense in it. Honestly, why must we still, let's speak as Ghanaians. Where Ghana has gotten to.
You are sharing with the critics who say the president remains insensitive to what is going on, or that he's out of touch.
You see, he is not aware of the realities of the Ghanaian people.
How is that possible? They say uneasy lies the head that wears
don't you see him on television? Anytime you see him, he's either dancing. The last time I saw him on TV, he was shouting "A" at the size of the backside of a woman. This is not a president who is leading by example. Oh, didn't you see that clip? This is a man who is not I'm not being petty.
Don't be petty.
You see, leadership by example is very, very important. Leadership by example is very, very important. In other jurisdictions, presidents would have resigned. Presidents would have fired those responsible for the mess we find ourselves in. And presidents would have drastically reduced the size of their government and their expenditures. Samson, why do we need a Ministry of Transport manned by a minister and a deputy, and another Ministry of Aviation manned by a minister and a deputy, and another Ministry of Railways?
Do we have it again?
Oh, we still have.
Who is the Minister for Aviation now?
Well,
There's no Ministry of Aviation.
Okay, but at least we have Ministry of Railways. We still have Ministry of Railways. So thank you. So why do we still have a Ministry of Transport and a Ministry of Railways? Why can't we merge these two ministries and at least reduce the size of government? At least that you can agree with me on. Because once upon a time, President Mahama manned that same sector with just two ministers, two women. And their output is there for everybody to see. All the ministers you have been appointing, over 126 under your first term, and the many ministers and deputy ministers, not to talk of the hundreds of presidential staffers you have at the presidency. What has been their output? A bankrupt economy, unbearable cost of living, excruciating hardships, interest payments, interest rates of over 45%, unemployment rate of over 15%, an unsustainable public debt, a draconian expropriation of the investments of people. That is their output. And so clearly, what President Akufo Addo is doing is a slap in the face of the Ghanaian people. It is an insult to our sensibilities. And I reject this suggestion by my good brother, Mr. Penka, that, he's a man in the chair. He should be allowed to do what he likes so that he doesn't complain when he fails. He has already failed. He has already failed. So it doesn't lie in your mouth to tell us that, be patient, be patient. He is in the chair. If the president says that he needs 500 ministers, we should allow him. That is the logic you are expounding. If he says he needs 1,000 ministers, we should allow him. No. As citizens, as the people of this country in whom sovereignty resides, who have given him the very mandate he's exercising for and on our behalf, we reserve the right to tell him that, Mr. President, you can cut these ministries out. You can merge these other institutions to bring down cost so that when others see that, they can have confidence in you and say, look, government means business. They are very much sensitive to the difficult times we find ourselves in. And so let's all be willing to sacrifice so that the country can come out of the crisis we find ourselves in.
The member of Parliament for Anyaso, and there are people in government who have said this. It doesn't look like we seem to want to listen to them. Dr. Dixon Adomako Kisi has said that President Akufo Addo's ministerial appointments are not necessarily the cause of the fiscal crisis bedeviling the country. He wants us to look at government's expenditure, and it will reveal rather that it is the capital projects that account for the huge expenditure. He cites the Agenda 111 projects and others rather than we looking at cutting the size of government. How much at all will it give us?
No, Samson, the two are not mutually exclusive. in fact, we have to cut down on the size of government and at the same time, cut down on government expenditure. Misplaced expenditures like the 372 million Ghana cedis we have wasted on the cathedral project with nothing to show for example, cannot continue. The 15 million Ghana cedis, that is some 150 billion old Ghana cedis that we spent in only 9 months on car tires and car batteries, cannot continue. So yes, I agree with him, government expenditure must be trimmed down significantly. But at the same time, those of us who say that the size of government must be reduced are making a very important point. Because
and they say this is for the symbolism of it.
Yes, the symbolism of it is important, but also there is some substance, okay, that we can get from it in terms of benefit that we can get from it, because all these ministers, all these presidential staffers are driving V8s, they are driving saloon cars, they are using fuel bought by the states, fuel coupons and so on. They are paying. Come again?
So they have packed their cars now.
Oh, not true at all. We see most of them driving in their V8 still in the city of Accra every day. So when you told us that you had even frozen the purchasing of new vehicles, we've now seen that only last year you spent 6.5 million Ghana cedis on the purchase of new vehicles. It is not about talk. It's not about what you announce. It's about what the figures show. So when we cut down the size of government, at least the monies we use to pay these people, the allowances, the monies we spend on the accommodation and all that will come down drastically. And so the president should listen. But if he will not listen, well, the people of this country will have an opportunity on 7 December 2024 to pass their verdict on his stewardship. And I have no doubt in my mind that they will reject this government, which has become a monument of waste and corruption and a burden to the Indian taxpayer. It's not a manifesto. That is the only opportunity we have.